Porn Stars Are People podcast. I'm your host, Dan Frigolette. I'm here with Rain DeGrey.
Hi.
Thank you for coming and doing this. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
We've already touched on all of the conspiracy topics in the world in the first 4 minutes of meeting, so we got a lot to talk about already.
That's how I roll.
It's like immediately. I was talking about how I got one of my videos flagged, and then you just went into the entire business of what's happening with YouTube and what's this bill? FOSTA.
FOSTA and SESTA, which is Stop Enabling Online Sex Trafficking.
Yeah.
And it's huge. It's actually having wide range implications. And I know people listening to this could be like, well, how the fuck? This doesn't matter. It just doesn't affect me in any way. I don't care. Online sex trafficking. I'm not doing that. Oh, yeah? Have you noticed that Craigslist is shut down? Have you noticed that YouTube is getting stricter? This is having wide Backpage is shut down.
Yeah.
There's a multi-million-dollar lawsuit. And they're basically saying that we want to stop people from being sex trafficked. That's noble. That's a really noble goal.
Well, the place that we're at finally is there's still this stigma, and it relates a lot to the adult industry that I find, especially like the people the dumb things that people will say to me now that I've started this podcast.
Right.
But what's happening is basically people are owning their own sexuality and they have control over it. More like more than they've ever had in their entire career.
Right.
Like there was a time when maybe the adult industry was a little bit more coercion and sort of like people being put into bad positions. But now everyone, for the most part, is learning how to own.
When was this time?
Well, sort of the beginning of the beginning of any sort of just the same kind of thing when sex trafficking was this bad place.
Right.
I mean, there was a time,
Okay, so
you're saying 2% is
Linda Lovelace wrote this entire biography about how it was so horrible and she was so trafficked. She's a fucking wingnut, Linda Lovelace. Like she went back and forth. She was a Christian. She was born again.
Yeah.
There was a gun to my head. She's enthusiastically sucking dick.
Yeah.
Like when someone is that bipolar with their stand where she shifted back and forth so many times, I cast a cynical eye on that. So
wait, so you would argue that people involved in any sex industry at any point in time were very much controlling their own content.
I would say in terms of percentages. Do I have the exact statistics?
Yeah.
No. But here's the thing. I have been in the industry for a decade.
Yeah.
I know a fuck ton of people.
Yeah.
Where are all these trafficked people? Every person I've met has enthusiastically gotten into porn for one reason or another. It's not because we got drug habits. It's not because we got gambling habits. It's not because shoes are fucking expensive.
Yeah.
These are perverts. These are exhibitionists.
Said
these are
in the
perverts.
best way possible. Yeah.
I mean, I'm just fact.
Yeah.
Fact. Like the people I know that get naked and fucked on camera are enthusiastic nymphomaniacs.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, fact.
So let me rephrase.
Please do.
People now are in a position as outsiders who are finally starting to understand that this is sort of like almost like a pro-feminist industry because these are people that are in charge of their own message, in charge of their own content, and again, not being pushed in anything. But there's this stigma, and there's this thing that people think.
I bought a fucking house in the Bay Area, which is the most San Francisco has surpassed Manhattan.
Sure.
I don't have a college degree because I was homeschooled by filthy hippies in a cult.
Yeah. Okay. I love this.
I'm lucky that I can tie my shoes. I am completely self-taught. The thing with the
wait. There's two things. Literally, number one, I'm not self-taught by my parents, but my mom taught me poorly to tie my shoes. So I was like, I want to say I was 15 years old. I'm tying my shoes. My father looks at me and goes, "What are you doing?" And I was like, Mom is not a good
they have a
teacher
pegboard and you get to practice.
No,
they
and
give
no,
you a little
no.
lacy
At
thing.
15 years old, my father taught me to tie my shoes, and it took him 9 seconds, and then I was like, oh, and then I was good for life.
Thanks, Mom.
But 15 years, I wouldn't tie my shoes in front of people because I was embarrassed at how it wouldn't come out good. Ever.
It didn't ever occur to you to look at other people's shoes and be like,
I just couldn't figure out. I couldn't figure out what they were doing. So that's okay.
So you weren't like, hey, hold on a moment. What the fuck am I doing wrong?
So I'm saying your homeschool probably was better than mine.
Okay.
Than me going to public school.
Is that you cannot tell a religious organization how to school their children.
Right.
That's part of how we've designed America.
Right.
If a religious organization wants to say 2 + 3 is green,
but
they're allowed to.
But they can you can be an accredited school, like you can be a school and you can not. So I had a buddy who the same kind of deal went to this Christian school and he's got a joke about the fact that it wasn't accredited. So like he said the state of Missouri looked at this place and they go that's not a school. And so he knew he was going to a school that wasn't a school.
I didn't know until I left.
Okay.
I had no idea. I was from birth to 16.
Yeah.
I'm in this commune.
Yeah.
So
This is crazy.
So I left at 16
Yep.
because I don't know who God is, but I know he's not a fat bald guy from New York with 9 wives.
Right.
That I know.
Right.
So when I left, I'm like, I never thought I was dumb, but I was like, dude, there's some stuff I'm missing out on.
Right.
I went to go to college for the first time. I'm like, I can fucking do college.
Yeah.
And my first test for biology was a picture of a microscope, and there was an arrow saying, what does this button do? I had never seen a microscope.
Yeah.
I had never touched a microscope.
Right.
I'm not getting A's in biology. I can tell you that for a fact.
Right.
When I got into porn, I don't have a college degree, and I own a house in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
Thank you, porn.
Right,
thank
right.
you. So the thing is that porn is actually incredibly empowering for women.
Sure.
You are in charge of your body and your sexuality. You can totally decide who you do scenes with. You get paid. Not anymore. The porn industry's died. It's
Yeah.
fucking dead. Stick a fork in
All
it.
of the industries. Really
Oh
did that.
yeah. Well, not just how's stand-up comedy doing?
It's
How's
terrible.
movies doing? How's music doing?
Music's doing terrible. That's
Well,
why.
I
That's why
agree.
all musicians have
We-
become actors.
We have raised an entire generation of people to believe that entertainment comes for free out of the magic box on the
Yeah.
desk. Why would you pay for content? Content is free.
Yeah, this is okay. This is the thing that I try to do at the end of the thing, and,
Mm.
and it finally came full circle the other day. But so I
Mm.
always try to tell people
Mm.
to pay for their porn, because if you're not paying for your porn, then the performer's not getting paid. And then I was interviewing someone in London in the industry, and they were
Mhm.
talking about how the last comedy show they went to for free, and then I had
Yeah.
to tell people you have to pay for
Pay
your
for ev- you have
comedy.
to pay for
your
entertainment.
comedy. Yeah.
Because the thing is, in order to, you're in a hotel room. This hotel room has to be paid for.
Yeah.
You have to fucking eat.
Yeah.
You have to buy clothes.
Yeah.
That
Oh, I
shit
love to
doesn't
eat,
come.
yeah.
If you think is if you don't eat, you die.
Yeah.
It's this weird correlation. No food, you starve to death. So and people are like, well, the
What?
entertainment.
I never heard that.
Well, now you know. You learn something new every day.
Oh, I just thought I was eating because it was fun. I didn't know it was like a life
No,
thing.
if you don't put it in, you die. Much like Dick. No, that's not true. That's actually not true. So the thing is, no one cares. No one's going to stand up for porn performers. No one gives a fuck. We don't have any rights. And here's the fact. Enough porn at this point has been filmed that if you were to take a child, and from the moment that child drew breath to the moment it died, it did nothing but
Could
watch
watch porn?
24 hours a day,
Yeah.
it would die before it ran out of porn to watch.
That's hopeful.
There's-
I like this.
There's let me explain why you shouldn't like that, because you don't need to produce any more porn.
Yeah.
Right, that's it. It's all there is an infinite amount. How Hungry Butt Sluts, like volumes 1 through
Yeah.
17, because there's so many unanswered questions from 1 through 16.
Right, yeah.
I wonder what happens next. The dick goes in the butt. That's what happens
Yeah.
every time. But people
So we just made it for sure that this video is getting flagged on YouTube.
Oh, oops. You didn't give me any
No, I don't
one-
have any censorship to it, but I just realized dick in the butt for some reason that's getting
Can-
flagged on YouTube
Can
every time.
you edit that out?
No, I'm not gonna do that.
All right, well,
I'm
fuck
just
it
gonna
then.
roll the
All right,
dice.
I can't, dude. I
Okay,
get flagged all the time.
But I think that's true about all of the mediums.
Right,
I think
it's across the board, and the thing is,
But so-
it's not until it gets dire. Eventually, people are going to go to their little box, and they're going to, where's the free entertainment?
Yeah.
Until it gets scraped down to the bottom. This is very interesting. So what is now in control of porn is, you've heard of Pornhub.
Yeah.
Who hasn't fucking heard of
Yeah.
Pornhub?
Of course.
Pornhub is pirated. It's all
Right.
100% pirated.
Right.
And what they did is, if you can give away content for free, your operating costs are non-existent.
Right.
You don't have to pay for the content.
Right.
So Pornhub has now created a ravenous customer base that expects free porn.
Yeah. We've not
Pornhub
even
has
that. Not
started
even
to-
that. We've taught ourselves to masturbate to like these short
Little
videos.
clips, right.
Yeah.
The irony is that
Like we get
Pornhub
ready
is now
and we
forced.
just use it for the last couple seconds.
Well, that's all
the-
you need.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, let's
Well,
be
but
honest.
it would be not, like there were like
Who
like
watches porn for the dialogue?
but there was someone at some point, right?
They had a fast forward button. All right, the setup, I get it, and let's go. You know
that
who
was-
likes dialogue and plot? Women.
That was
Women fucking love it.
That's what was funny about when you would find like your buddy's dads or your dad's like VHSs. You pop it in, and it was never rewound. It was like they stopped it
There's the
at
spot.
the moment.
Right,
Yeah,
right, sure.
So it was like a little creepy.
Yeah. Oh,
So you had to go forward or backwards a little bit because like you
So-
didn't want to end in the same exact spot as somebody else's
It
dad.
is a
That's
little
weird.
creepy
It's
to
creepy.
be watching secondhand dad porn, knowing where they ejaculated.
That's all. Yeah, that's all. But that's all porn was.
Right.
Was
So the
finding
thing is
somebody
that
else's porn.
Pornhub has now
kid.
created a customer base that is expecting free porn. Pornhub has scraped the bottom of the
Yeah.
barrel so much they are now forced, fact, to create content, film content, and then release it for free.
Yeah.
That because they've run out of shit to steal.
Yeah.
I was in the industry for 10 years. It's dying.
No, this is what I've been hearing is that people will go. So one person will pay for the content on somebody's site, and then they'll pirate it off,
pirate and scrape
and then
it,
they'll put it back on Pornhub. But it's just one of these things where it's like where you try to figure out what the upside is. So the upside is hopefully that somebody decides that they like your content and then goes to your thing and tries to do it. So that's sort of supposed to be the trade off. But yeah, it's not always working.
The trade-off is that what's going to happen is there's going to be one Manwin is the giant conglomerate. They're the ones that own everything.
Yeah.
And then it's all boutique mom and pop operations beneath.
Yeah.
So what you need as a performer is to have enough of a personality that you cultivate enough of a fan base that the people are committed enough to you that they're willing to they feel bad about stealing from you.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just the industry's dying. So
I think we are getting to that place. I think it seems like the people that I meet in this business have figured out how to have a fan base of people that actually care about their things, and then they'll branch out to the people that are sort of like adjacent to those people. And with social media, we can kind of it's a little creepy.
It's not like it used to be. I mean, that's a fact.
Yeah.
The porn is dying, and
sure.
I've diversified. I'm an educator. I'm an author.
Yeah.
I teach classes. I have an advice column. I have a podcast.
You can do all the things.
You fucking have to. You have to. You have to have your finger in all the pies.
Yeah.
Getting naked and fucked on camera, fun. Way funner than writing an advice column or doing a podcast. No offense. No offense. I'm just letting you know it's way better. But it's just there's not as much of it anymore. And people, how come you don't do any more scenes? I'll do scenes if they book me, man.
Right,
but it's just like you have killed it. When someone writes to me, I want a fresh scene. How much porn have you paid for versus how much porn have you stolen?
Right.
I have people that write into me, I'm your biggest fan, and they'll send me a link to Pornhub of stolen work.
Yeah.
Where can I find more like this? Fuck you. Eat a bag of dicks.
Well, they don't. You got.
They're so rude.
Don't go right to that. They don't know.
Yes,
let them
they
know. They don't know.
Yes,
they don't know. No, I
yes.
realize you got. No, as a consumer, I didn't know until I started doing the podcast how little there was that comes on the back end if I find something for free. I figured
you're saying that when you find something for free, it never once crossed your mind that either electrical bills, paying for location, paying for
I think what we
editors,
thought was the
videographers.
content got here.
By magic content
and someone paid the performer to be there, and I think we didn't understand this extra step that it's being, you're saying it's being pirated and it's being taken.
Yes.
So I think in our heads is if somebody, it's like, oh well, we know that The Rock makes X amount of millions of dollars to be in the movie, and we disconnect from the idea that like, well, he already got paid, so we're good. So however we see the movie doesn't matter, but we're disconnected from the fact that like the studio needs to make the money back to be able to pay the thing, and that's how the whole thing works.
I think
so that's what it is.
That's a willful disconnect.
I don't think it is, because I'm not an idiot, right? And I'm in comedy, so I understand the thing. But I think but we do this thing because I don't think anybody really understands the commerce of how this thing works, like the people in it. So again, that's why we pitch it at the end. Pay for your porn, because it is.
It's just like every time you stumble onto YouTube and you watch some free movie, and you're like, oh, this is great. Well, the movie doesn't come for free. Like I realize if I'm watching anything not through legitimate sources, it's pirated. It's stolen.
And then we ruined everything because the beginning of TV was an ad-based situation. Right. So we just think, okay, well, there's money somewhere.
There's money. It's magic.
Somewhere there's money.
You just sprinkle, the money fairy comes along and fixes everything. Yeah, no, it doesn't work like that.
Well, so in theory, this podcast is the Porn Stars of People, which is not talking about porn. So I feel like I already know from 6 minutes of talking to you that you can speak intelligently about anything. So let's do that. Let's
okay. I didn't know how we got into porn.
No, it's fine. No, it's not a problem.
So here's the thing. What we were going to talk about is how this podcast actually almost didn't happen.
Yeah, we could talk about that.
Do you want to tell me and all of your listeners why this podcast?
Well, let's back up. So let's just to give it context. So I'm in San Francisco. I've had a very hard time finding anybody in the industry in San Francisco.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Even as you said, like I've been reaching out to some people.
Right, they're all in LA.
Because I'll get it's like I'll get like the adjacent tags on Twitter. So when I was in London trying to find people to interview, then all the people that came as suggestions were also Londoners, whatever.
Right.
So I basically reached out to anybody who was adjacent to the people that I found in the area. So most of them, like you said, were in LA.
Correct.
There also is there's a trend. If I book 10 of these interviews, I would say 6 of them happen.
I've learned that from doing my own podcast.
Because of the type of people that are involved in this industry, in my industry, it's just kind of what happens.
I cannot stand flaky, unreliable people.
So I was high as shit last night.
I know.
You confirmed. You confirmed. For me, it was a little close already because it was within 8-12 hours of what we're gonna do the thing. So you confirmed, and I was like, cool. So you sent me an address. I didn't even think of checking the address because I told you where to come. And then there
was a question mark on the end of that address. Question mark.
And then you said so I'll just call you when I get there. So I was like, okay, cool, we're good.
Right.
And then I passed out.
Passed the fuck out on
So then this
edibles.
morning I was like, okay, good, and I got everything ready. I cleaned the room. I did the whole thing, and then at like 2:30, you were like, hey, moron, you have to like confirm with me because this is in an hour.
No, it was 3:08, dude. 3:08. Don't even.
So I was
I've
like,
been trying to reach you all day.
But this is how my head would literally, because you said I'll just be there. I'll hit you up when I'm close. I was like, we're good.
Right.
And so then when I got the thing at 3:08, I was like, what? Why does she think it's not happening? Like, it's totally happening.
I didn't have a room number.
Right.
I didn't have a phone number.
And then I went back through. I'll accept my responsibility.
I'm just like hanging out in the lobby. I hope some dude shows up. This isn't.
And I've been in the opposite, where I'm like
Yeah.
sitting in the chair thinking somebody's coming, and then they just never get there. It's just like
Right.
so. So I try not to overdo it. But in this case, I underdid it. But I'm glad that you made it, and I appreciate you being here.
You're very welcome. So the valuable lesson we've learned. So you took edibles.
Yeah.
And for people that don't know how edibles work, here's the thing. There's no consistency with edibles. It's you melt the cannabis into the butter or the oil, whatever the medium is, and then you pour it into your cookie batter or your brownie or your
Whatever the mold is,
the taffy, whatever it is you're
Right,
eating.
right.
And then you're from a batch, you can get like a box, and you're like, all right, and each thing's divided out in the batch. You can eat one, fucking nothing happens. You eat the next one, you are high off your tits, and you can't walk in a straight line.
And it's so stupid because they did exactly what everybody who, like, every edible story is the like, oh, I took one, nothing happened, so I took more. So, and I knew that I was going to maybe be susceptible to this. So I did that last night. But last night had almost no stakes. I could go to a show, not go to a show. I didn't know how I felt. So I walked all the way to this show at the San Francisco Punchline. It's a dope club, and it's a place to get up if you're an out-of-towner. And there's this show on Sunday night where this guy, he picks, I don't know if it's democratic. It's probably the opposite. The guy just picks who he knows is either good, or if you hang out there long enough in the scene, you get to go up.
Right.
And sometimes if you're an out-of-towner and you're convincing enough, they'll put you on. So they put Elon Altman, shout out Elon from New York. They put him on, so I wasn't sure if I was getting on still. And then right around the time that I met the guy and was like, I'm from New York, it'd be cool if I could get up, I realized that I'm a little bit fucked up and I'm not sure what's going to happen. I don't get on stage high or drunk.
Right, good idea. That's a good policy. Continue that policy. Except for last night.
Except for last night. It was too late. At this point, he was like, you're going next. And I was like, cool. I was like, I think I can make this work. It's a 6-minute set. And I know my jokes well enough to, I realized last night, I can be completely, like, whatever the opposite of cognizant is, and still run the set.
So how do you feel it went?
I got the laughs, but I can't be, okay, so there's multiple things happening. So number one, so while I'm doing the jokes, while I'm saying them, my brain in my head is going, don't fuck this up. Make sure you remember what the next thing is. What did you already say? What's the next thing you're going to say is? Which is not normally what my brain is doing when I'm on stage.
Right.
And then after I got off stage, because I'm high, I just convinced myself that nobody liked it. Like.
Oh, sure.
I convinced myself that the comics didn't even like congratulate me enough for the set. So
you got congratulated, but it wasn't enough.
Maybe I don't
even
know.
One of the side effects of pot,
it's paranoia. So that's what I'm saying. It's like all of the things that were supposed to happen happened.
Of course, check.
Couldn't keep a train of thought.
Right.
The set felt like it was 45 minutes. It was 6 minutes.
Yeah.
While I was doing it, I couldn't tell if I was going fast or slow.
Right.
I was getting the laughs, getting the reactions, right? But I also couldn't control my face, which was not good.
Oh, yeah.
You have to control your face a lot in stand-up comedy. That's like kind of the whole thing. And then I was thinking about it. I couldn't control my face as I wasn't.
Which just makes it worse.
There's a lot.
It's
I'm already a neurotic dude. Like,
wait. You're saying you're a neurotic comic?
I'm so neurotic. It's the worst.
A neurotic comic? This is my shocked face.
You know too much. You have too much information. You have too much information about too many things.
I love learning, dude. I have such a boner for knowledge. It's my thing.
Okay, so what are you bonered for right now? Is that a word?
Sure, yeah. What for right now? What you want to know? What I'm doing?
Whatever, whatever. Like, is there anything you were like Googling this week that like now you're obsessed with that you didn't have any information about yesterday or this month or whatever? Like, what are you obsessed with right now?
Okay, so I'm gonna totally muffle her last name, and I apologize in advance. Right? My biggest boner is for talent and skill. I fucking love talented, skilled
in
people.
anything.
In anything.
Any field.
Whatever it is, if you're fucking good at it, like you can knock it out of the park. That's what I have
Isn't
respect
it fascinating
for.
when like something that you don't care about and then you see somebody do it really
like,
well
but
and you're like,
can
what
do it
the
well.
fuck?
So as
Like,
creepy as YouTube is, they know, like they're paying attention to everything.
It's way worse than you think.
Oh, I know. Oh, no, I know.
We were in the car, and this guy was sort of like talking about another comedian, and then later on in the trip, he went to like just type a couple letters
and
and it said the name.
They're listening at all. No, if
all
I want to have any privacy, I shut off my phone and I put it in another room.
Yeah.
Here's an example. This is how bad it is. Fact. My husband went bird watching.
Yeah.
And he had his phone on, didn't look at the phone, didn't look up birds, fucking nothing. He came home and he said, I've never gone bird watching. My dad used to do it. I think I want to get a bird watching book because it was fun. And his phone was on the coffee table. The light wasn't on. He hadn't researched anything. He just said to me over an inactive, dormant looking phone, I think I might get a bird book. 20 minutes later, he comes upstairs with a look of shock on his face, and there's an ad for a bird watching book on the phone. They are.
We're fucked, yeah.
Oh, this is Big Brother. We were living in 1984.
Okay, but there's two sides to it. Number one is like, so they can actually kind of curb us to only because that's what we found in the last election was that like everybody was shocked at like the fact that their position wasn't actually representing the election because on Facebook and all the other things we were just in the circle of people with the same opinions as us.
I think the same way. Yeah, we all think the same way. You get in the bubble.
Yeah.
I'm in a Twitter bubble, and it's like I forget that there are people on Twitter that aren't in my circle.
Right.
And then sometimes you veer out of your circle, and you're in a whole different section of
Right.
Twitter. What the fuck
It's
happened?
fantastic, yeah.
What?
It's so hard to get to that now, though. It used to be the thing was I was like because you're always trying to trend on Twitter because you want more fans. So I was always trying to find whatever the hashtags were, and it's less and less. And then it's only giving me news from where I'm at. When I was in South Africa, I was only getting U.S. news filtered through South Africa. It was very strange.
Of course. Everything is curated and presented to you.
And you can't reach it.
Yeah.
Can't get it.
Yeah.
But on the other side of that, it's like it's making some parts of life easier.
Sure.
Because then they know I'm on my habits. My habits are my habits, so they may as well cater to that.
When I went to get the address for here, and you said Sir Francis Drake.
Yeah.
And Sir Francis Drake is an explorer. There are a lot of Sir Francis Drakes before this hotel.
Right.
All I had to do was type in Sir Francis, and it offered me Sir Francis Drake because it was paying attention to my Twitter DMs and knew I was coming here.
Yeah.
It's convenient as
Yeah,
shit.
yeah,
I'm down with the
yeah.
convenience, but still, dude, you're in my phone. You're through my microphone.
Right.
You are paying attention to it's. Don't worry, we got it. We're gonna hold your hand. We're gonna take you through it. Like that's what we're in a brave new world. In the brave new world. And here's the thing: it's ego to think that they give a fuck about what you're doing. They don't.
Right.
They don't. It's about money. All they're doing is curating your experience for ad revenue.
I saw Sorry to Bother You last night.
I haven't had a chance to see.
You have to see it.
I don't have a lot of time to watch movies.
I understand.
I mean, I want to. I'm really busy.
I've prioritized movies in my life as one of the things that I do because I'm traveling all the time, and it's nice to just like that's a moment where I can just go and I'll chill. It's like because it doesn't matter where I am because that's the thing. It's like I lose track of the news. I lose track of a lot of things when I'm traveling. So it's like to be able to just see a movie and chill and like so it's nice. So I saw it last night. I was very high still when I saw it, which I'm not sure how much of. The
really
connections I was making were because
really
I was high,
things
or if they were as heavy-handed as they think they were.
They probably what the thing is, I've noticed when you're stoned, you can see the subtle nuances. It's like a layer is pulled back.
Yeah,
it's there, but all of a sudden you're seeing a deeper undercurrent.
Yes, the last time I was super high, I watched Fox News, and
you're like, whoa, it's all there. You're just normally not in the mindset to see it.
Yeah.
I was reading a graphic novel. It was just like this Japanese comic, and all of a sudden, like the bead of the sweat and the dude sitting in the hot tub because he was nervous because the chick he had a crush on was there. I could all of a sudden see a deeper level.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's all there. It's just you're not tuned into it.
Yeah.
But the pot helps you shift into that other consciousness.
Right. Yeah, it was interesting. Yeah, because I couldn't maintain a lot of attention span at the comedy show. But then when a joke would hit with me, it would hit so much harder.
Right.
But then everything leading up to that, I was like, I'm not sure what we're talking. And then I couldn't stay in the bit with people because it like set something up. But then it was weird because then everything that wasn't directly linear to what the train of thought should have been, I felt like was like some weird like oh, why did they end there? Like, they
Right.
didn't even finish the thought.
Right.
Or where did this other thing just come from?
Right.
And it created this other level of, like, organic thing about comedy, which is, like, you need to get a laugh.
Right.
So it's like, even if you start you can tell where the thought started.
Right.
And then where it ended with, I have to get a laugh either way.
Right.
So they might have not even finished the thought. It was just an interesting,
Right. I do, because I teach classes and I do a lot of lecturing. I've actually, for a BDSM porn star who grew up in a cult, I've lectured at Harvard. So I'm really good with public speaking.
Yeah.
And I watch a lot of stand-up comedy to get really good with my vocal patterns.
Interesting.
Stand-up comedy is great for listening to. If you do any George Carlin, if you
Yeah.
do any Bill Hicks,
Yeah.
it really translates well to public speaking in classes.
Yeah, what's interesting is about those two guys, and we finally, like, because I've been in this thing long enough, and I've seen a lot of levels of comedy in guys that, like, we always use those guys as, like, the example, but if you actually watch what happened and how well they were received, if you break down people that are doing comedy now, people are doing comedy now better because they're getting more laughs. So, like, Carlin, Hicks, they would get through a lot of information. They would, and there was a meaning to what they were doing. But laugh for laugh, it wasn't there. Carlin would make lists. Carlin would rhyme things because there was whole chunks of periods of time that he was giving information where laughter isn't happening.
Okay, but here's the thing. It is, I counter that you can do comedy where it doesn't need to be how many laughs per minute, how many beats.
Yeah.
A really skilled comic is a preacher.
Sure.
They're weaving a story.
Sure.
And it's like, okay, Louis C.K. has been disgraced. I fucking get it. Put your dick away, man. I mean, but here's the thing: is that I like Bill Hicks. I like George Carlin. I like Louis C.K. I like narrators and people that craft a story. I like morose, depressed, miserable people.
It's a point of view more than a story, right? So,
Yeah,
so this is the thing I figured out the other day is, like, I'm kind of where I'm at in my life and my career. I'm kind of, I did a one-man show in South Africa, and if you look at the whole thing, I'm kind of breaking down. First, I break down relationships, and I basically say that, like, the only way to stay in marriage is to just stay in it. Like, the fact that, like, monogamy and all these things, like, don't really exist anymore. So I sort of break all those things apart, and then I
can tell you all about that.
But I break all those things apart, and then and I say that the reason why things were working and not working, whatever. So it's like. And then at the end, it's just sort of like a whole bunch of stuff about, like, what we do sexually and how we navigate to do weird shit. So it's like the point of view is this thing that, like, the way that I'm living my life, where it's like I'm trying to figure out whether or not like marriage could be real, especially in the place. Yeah, but the place but it's like it takes a different point of view now, because what used to happen is you pick a person, you get in the thing, and you just and you cultivate the relationship.
Monogamous. People were never monogamous. That was the veneer that we pulled over it. Okay, remember that? You might not remember that. Sorry. They did a genetic testing of an obscure small Welsh village in, like, the 1950s.
Okay.
And there was only 700 people in the village. It was pretty easy to do the testing. 40% of the kids were not. It wasn't their dad.
Wow.
Fact,
I didn't know this.
They had to pull the plug on the study. They're like, they thought this would just be perfect for bloodlines.
Yeah.
People have never been monogamous. That's not how the humans are wired.
Yeah.
But what it was is that monogamy was socially acceptable.
Right.
And so it was just like we all pretended we were monogamous.
Right.
We fucking were not monogamous.
Ever.
That's not how humans are wired. That's a fact.
I like this.
And what it was is the dude would go on the business trip. The woman would bang the milkmaid.
Yeah.
Or the milkman. Like, you would just find ways. You would find workarounds.
Sure.
So if you look at the reason that there was such an emphasis placed on a woman's hymen, and if you look back at Roman times, this is how we want how creepy this was. A woman was essentially a uterus.
Yeah.
And the hymen was the seal on the uterus. And when a 12-year-old girl was given away to her husband, she's under her father's jurisdiction, and then her intact hymen goes to the husband, the father would have to sit in the room and watch his 12-year-old daughter be de-virginized.
Yeah.
Because the marriage contract was official
You're right.
once her hymen was. And why was there all this emphasis on it? Because you wanted to make sure that was your seed in there and not someone else's seed. It was not ego. It's like, I need my bloodline.
Yes,
and you can't
that's
fucking
ego.
trust. You can't trust anyone. You can't.
This is what I found interesting about lions when I was in South Africa.
They'll when the new lion takes over the pack, they kill all the cubs.
I didn't know that one.
They kill the cubs, and it causes the female lions to then go into heat, and then the new pack leader
because it's trying to be all his.
Yeah.
So the way that the society works at the place, what's called Lion Park in South Africa, is all of the dudes sort of like just get in there on the women in heat, and then nobody like there's sort of like this unwritten thing where like nobody like really overly claims the cub, because this guy knows if he knows that it's his cub, then this guy's gonna kill the cub. So they all just assume that it's their cub, and then they raise it as a unit.
Not always.
That's
not
in,
always.
in this specific case.
Specific
this
case.
is how the functioning of the Lion Society works. Is that they don't actually know whose it is, so that's the only thing stopping them from killing it.
Well, so then don't fucking Google lions killing cubs.
Yeah.
Because when a new alpha lion comes in and he takes over, he fucking kills every cub. Start fresh, wipe the slate clean.
Interesting.
I need to make sure that this is all my
Animal
seed.
nature.
And you'll just see, and he's killing these little cubs, like they're hanging out of his mouth. Why him and his dick is now in charge.
No, and nobody can challenge me in the future.
Yeah. I want it to be my bloodline.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah,
so here's my counter is that monogamy has never been. I mean, sure, there are some people that are dedicated and they're monogamous, and it would hurt them in their gut to not be.
But it's a can I say it's a brainwash in a sense? Like it's this possessive thing that isn't real that we try to put on relationships.
Right. So here's the thing: is I'm happily married, and I'm also I'm double married. I've got not one but two rings. Two different people wanted to put a ring on it because I'm fucking awesome. That's just a fact. But the thing is that for me, from the moment I started doing relationships, I'm not jealous. I have never been, and I see jealousy. It's toxic. It's a poison. It's a burden. What's your password? Let me look at your phone. Who's texting you? I love you, so I own your genitals. Those are mine. No one can ever look at them again. I fucking love you, so I own you. Hold up. That is smothering.
Yeah, I'm working on this thing. I want to talk about this thing about how so the women. There's this thing that, when we're dudes, and I've seen this with other people too, it's like women, as soon as you get in a relationship, like people are like, oh, who's she? She wants to fuck you, this and that. It's like, and as dudes, we go, no, nobody wants to fuck us. Like, we love that you think that people want to fuck us, but nobody wants to fuck us. And so it's this thing where it's like everybody wants to fuck us, everyone wants to fuck us, everyone wants to fuck us. And then if we should happen to cheat, then you're shocked that we cheat. Like, how dare you? You just told me everybody wants to fuck me. You just raised up my idea of the worth. But there's all these lies that we're doing all at the same time. It's wrong that we're monogamous, that people want to fuck us, block. We gotta stop this person from getting in there, and like all of the energy that's spent on all of this could be.
It's such a waste. It's such a waste of energy. Here's the thing: the most valuable resource you will ever be given is your time. Bar none. Fucking time is the most valuable resource, and how you choose to invest that most valuable resource completely shapes your journey on this planet. So I refuse. Like, A, I've never had any trouble sharing. B, I'm not troubled by jealousy, and I see how toxic it is, how much it fucks people up. And it's just like, okay, if someone wants to fuck my partner, that's flattering. You know what that means? I have good taste.
I picked the right guy,
I have good taste. It's like this piece of chocolate cake. I don't want to eat all the chocolate cake to myself.
You don't want you don't want nobody to want to fuck me.
Try this bite of cake, man. This cake is delicious. You got to try a bite of it. If you like the chocolate cake, it validates my good taste. Now, here's the thing. An emotional commitment, that's a whole nother, but it's like you put your dick in someone else. Who gives it? Are you going to bring back a baby or an STI? If you're not bringing back a baby or an STI, you go forth and have fun. It's not going to affect me. It honestly isn't. When you see, the thing is, when women get cheated on, they get sad. When men get cheated on, they get stabby. And
what's stabby?
Stab you with a fucking knife. You cheat on a woman, she's crying and eating Haagen-Dazs. You cheat on a man, he kills your cat and fucking staples it to your front door.
This sounds specific.
I have never had a cat stapled to my front door. I am using that.
Women stab a dude. That happens all the time. I'll cut you, bitch. I'll cut a bitch.
Okay.
This is an expression.
Okay. Did you see the Donald Glover bit? How come no one has a crazy ex-boyfriend?
No.
Okay, he does this great bit.
In his Comedy Central half hour?
Yeah, it's so fucking good. And he's like, here's the difference between crazy exes. When a man has a crazy ex story, he's like, oh, crazy Sheila, you know how she'd fucking show up, wait by she was so crazy. And when a woman has a crazy ex story, it's like, oh yeah, that's why I'm in this wheelchair. Like the thing is, men have this aggression.
Yeah.
That women have this, like, why are women known as poisoners? It's like, oh, women are sneaky and manipulative.
Yeah.
Because motherfucking men have 100 pounds on us.
Right.
I meet dudes and their thought, my bicep, like, dude, when I look at my arm versus a dude's arm, like, it's just like dude's arms are the size of my thigh.
Yeah. No, I decided this a long time ago that everybody's capable of murder.
Everyone's
so we
capable.
have to kind of just keep it under
do it?
control.
The thing is, like, a dude will fucking shoot you. A dude will stab you. What's a woman gonna do? Oh, women are manipulative because she's gonna poison your soup before she gives it to you. Here you go, honey. Enjoy. That's the options women have.
Right.
It's harder for us to walk up and shoot a dude in the head. I'm not saying women don't do it. I'm not saying.
Well, this is not empowering to women. You can listen, ladies. You can stab a guy if you feel like it.
At
if
any
you want
point,
to,
the guy's gonna take the knife, overpower you, and then who's getting stabbed? You. What women have to
can do
factor
everything men can do.
They
can stab you.
Sure, they certainly can. Feminist, I get it. I'm all about it. I'm looking at it. It's a difference in bodies. It's just like that. My boyfriend is 6'2".
Yep.
And he has 100 pounds on me.
Yeah.
Now I can get him, but I have to wait till his back's turned and he's winded, and then I have to tiptoe really quickly and do a chokehold before he's expecting it. Because if he sees it coming, I don't stand a chance.
This is my theory on why we sort of societied up. Is we looked at somebody else's skill set, and this is why women are attracted to the masculinity and why men are attracted to the femininity. It's we're looking at the thing that we can't do.
Right.
How do we overcome this environment?
Correct.
And so we need the other side. And the problem is now we're in a place where we go, I don't need the other side. I could do it all. I could do everything.
You can't.
And that's what we think.
Well, yeah, that's
and
not
so then we do this thing. So I'm not against gender roles. I appreciate and understand that who we crammed these things with maybe is arbitrary, and it might be sexist and it might be this and that. But it's like I would be happy to be a stay-at-home dad.
Right.
I would be happy to have be in a relationship where the roles are so defined that if somebody comes home and they didn't do the thing, whatever the thing is, that you didn't do the thing you're supposed to do, you go, you didn't do the thing. I'll do the thing if you want me to do the thing, but we need to do all of the things as a team.
Right.
So pick your 8 things, do them.
Here's the thing that's shifting. When you hear the phrase marriage contract, think about that. Why contract? For all of human history, marriage wasn't about love.
Yeah.
It was literally a business decision.
Here's a goat.
Right.
Take my daughter.
And the scandals that happened, it was around 1850, and they started doing marriages in Greenwich, actually, where it was like people were getting married for love.
Yeah.
How dare you? How dare you get married for love? Marriage is a business. It's a business proposition.
Yes.
The two of you get together. The two of you have enough resources to then raise a child. That's the whole point.
Right.
All of this is about reproducing. What is shifted,
and that's why it was like, and that's why it doesn't work for an extended period of time. Like you have the kids, and then they're gone, and then you can.
And then you're just like, look, not fucking your face again. I've been looking at you for the past 20 years, not again.
Not even that, but like if Louis C.K. is his big argument on the thing was like you're building this relationship with a person, then you have a kid, and you look at this kid, and you go, oh my God, I would die for you, and then you look at your wife, and you're like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
Why would I take your shit?
That's my boyfriend had that. He's married and he has a kid, and like. The wife, and then he had the kid, and he's like, I love this kid. And he looks at the wife like,
who are you?
No, I will do anything for this kid. You're actually kind of annoying.
Yeah,
You're a little
don't
annoying.
fuck. This is great. Yeah.
So, but one of the things you have to factor in shifting gender roles is our economy has changed. For all of human history, the dude could go be the breadwinner, and the woman was the one that kept the house clean, did the dishes, and raised the kid.
Right.
That doesn't work anymore. Why does it work? Not because of a bunch of uppity feminists. We need to have households be 2 incomes.
Yeah, that's true too.
We don't have.
This is what I don't understand is how people make this work. Where it's like, especially I live in New York. I look at what it costs to raise a child, and it's like this person has to make this much.
In New York?
And then if both people are gone, where are you?
I don't.
Which is why I still think I'm the greatest because I work at night.
Right.
So that the dynamic is perfect.
Right.
You come home, I leave.
Right.
I've been home all day hanging out with the kids and enriching their brains with our. And then you come home, you hang out with the kids, and then I go.
That would be the perfect dynamic.
I know.
It's well known that if you want to get married and have a stable relationship and have babies, you should definitely marry a stand-up comic. Good luck, my friend.
Nothing bad will happen.
No.
they won't be
No.
insecure and
No.
say weird things to
No,
you.
never.
They won't
No,
think
no,
that you
no.
don't love them. You know what I
No,
mean? There's nothing
no.
bad could happen.
Yeah.
They won't be super open and crazy and vulnerable on stage and then come home and then shut down. That'll never happen.
No. I noticed all the rings dripping off your fingers, man. How many women threw a ring at it?
No. The problem that I have is the pay for your comedy problem is because they've devalued what we do as comedians and what we're allowed to make, and we haven't unionized. There's no actual income that says to a person, especially the society, like it's like waning off, but it's still there where to be an attractive male partner, you have to achieve a certain type of living. And my living is perfect for me, but nobody looks at my living
do you
and says,
know why
I want to get
stand-up
in
comics are never going to unionize? Ever? For a fact. Do you want to know why?
You tell me.
It's the same reason that porn performers are not going to unionize, and I'll tell you why. Because comics, no offense, are exhibitionist attention whores that need to be on a stage, and they need people to listen to them.
Yep.
And that need is so fucking strong that it's I'm a performer myself.
Yeah.
And I am come and do it for the exposure.
Yeah.
And like my name's big enough at this point. It's like you want me to drive somewhere, pay for my gas, pay for my parking, pay for my bridge toll, and then come somewhere and perform for free.
Right.
I fucking think not, my friend. But you know what? Right below me is a thirsty level of people that will do it.
That's it.
They will do it. That's why
the moment. Right there. So this is what happened. This is what happened in New York in the mid, I want to say early 2000s. I wasn't there yet, but this is the story that's hanging around. All the top layer comics, they were like, no, we're not going to do it. We're not getting paid $25 to do comedy. It's not 1978. What are you doing? Like you're making this much, that's whatever. And then the club goes,
that's fine.
Yeah.
The next shelf.
Right. They literally just walk outside and they go, hey, You've been
and
trying to get on my stage.
And they couldn't run fast enough onto that stage.
Yeah. And that's exactly what happened. So the loyalty is gone.
That's why.
And this is also what the movie tries to touch on.
Oh, sure.
What's it called? Sorry to bother you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like, and it does all the things, and it's sort of, it's an is it allegory is what I want. It's an allegory and like a very hyperbolic about exactly what's happening. It's like it's so exaggerated that it's ridiculous, but then it's also like almost. It's exaggerated, but then the dialogue is as if it's normal. So it's like it's pointing out all of these ridiculous societal things, the fact that corporate structure has brainwashed us.
Oh yeah.
And that the happiness and what we're trying to do isn't there. That sort of we will forgive the lack of morality if it suits us. Right. And that's where we're at.
That is where we're at, and we're at a terrifying level where the equality gap or the income gap is so huge. The American dream is dead. It's fucking dead. Stick a fork in it. It's done. And no one wants to admit that because that's terrifying for them.
You're right.
It's terrifying for them to accept that. And we are starting to get the top 1% of people.
Here's the thing. The dream is alive for 9 people.
Yeah,
right?
They're doing great.
And those 9 people, so then they've created this entire structure which
want
suits them. This is what
smart.
Society. This is why I think the lack of society has more morality in it, because individually, one-on-one, you can't do wrong to somebody, because a society without laws says that if I do wrong to you, then everybody else will stop doing business with you. Or if you kill someone, then they'll just kill you, because there's no law that says you can't.
Right.
So that's a more. But now we're in this thing where there's all the protection.
Right.
So we can't even get to the 9 guys.
Right.
Well, there's also my theory on philanthropy. Like you had to give a bunch of money back so that people didn't come to your house and kill you. Right. That's why the Carnegie money's still hanging around.
Right. Right. Capitalism has worked to such a point that we have these people that are so elite, they're billionaires. Fucking billionaires. And the fact is, there's too many humans. There is. We could stand. The Bible says, "Be fruitful and multiply." We have that shit on lockdown. Right. We have done, all the "be fruitful and multiply" done. It does not serve them. When you look at the American education system, why is it so bad? It's such a tragedy. I'll tell you why it's so bad. Because it doesn't behoove them to have us too smart. Right. Smart people get uppity. What you need is workers that are willing to just fucking do their job and not cause any trouble, and then go home and quietly die.
Not even that. So the beautiful part about that movie was that it's just like there was always like dangling something sort of like flashy at you. So you you go to this job, you know that it sucks.
Right.
But they're like, yo, but you can be
that flashy.
You can go to the next
sparkly,
floor.
shiny.
So in this particular movie, it's what did they call it? It's like elite callers or something. And it's like so then it's like you go to this job, you know that it sucks, but then all of a sudden you're good at it, so then they put you on the next floor, and it's like, and then you're selling something worse, and it's like that's sort of like and that's the deal. It's like, cause so like our individual moment of recognition becomes more important, and this speaks to the porn thing and the comedy thing, where it's like, you know, we want to do right by the entire comedic society, but then but I get to headline, cool, so fuck y'all,
fuck all of you.
Fuck
I
y'all.
want my name up there. They will never unionize because it's the thing is, stand-up comics are artists. Artists are compelled to create. It is a fire in your belly.
Right.
It's something you need to do. You wake up in the morning and you think about it. This is why don't I watch movies?
I don't
have time to watch movies.
I wasn't allowed to get on stage in London because of visas, and so I had an agent tell me, he's like, look, I'd like to work you, but if you get on stage on this trip, I can't work you because someone will find out, and then your visa status will be in check. So don't get on stage. And I realized how quickly like London became irrelevant to me because I was going to be there for 7 days and not be able to get on stage, and I was like,
what's the point?
What is the point of being here?
Right.
I can't be somewhere 7 days
and not
without getting on stage. I'll fucking go nuts.
Right. No, I 100% hear that. And when you have that drive to create, when you're a content creator, and I'm a content creator, you're a content creator, you get it. It's why you're on this planet. Yeah. It's what you're fucking compelled to do. You're like, oh, let's unionize and let's get to. There will always be someone below you that has the same urge, the same urges as you. I will do fucking anything to get my time on the stage. And for me, it's like I have really severe social anxiety, and people are fucking terrifying. You know where I'm happy? On stage. Yeah. At this point,
because you're controlling it.
It's you know what? You're right. Oh, that's interesting. I never thought about it. I was just like, how can I not sit in a room and I can't do small talk and people are agony to be around, but you put me on a stage for 2 hours, I'm golden.
Because you're framing it. It's a monologue. It's not a dialogue. They don't get a say.
Oh yeah, okay, that's true. Yeah,
that's the big debate, and that's the big debate with comedy. Sometimes people take it too far, where they're like, well, they don't get a say, but it's like, but if you're not getting the laughs along the way, then that's them getting their say. Right. So like the crowd can go against you and decide that you're not doing what they collectively want. Right. But as long as you can keep tiptoeing and convincing them and getting little laughs here and there, then you can
come
like
along.
I said,
it's like
then
you guide them by the hand. And
then you have this through line. The through line for me is like, okay, relationships don't work. Let's do weird things sexually. Like that's sort of like that's where I'm at in my life. Right. An hour show. That's kind of the only takeaway is that marriage can work if you just stay in it. And that's a choice.
Fact.
You couldn't get a divorce in the 50s.
I stay in it. Yeah, my grandparents couldn't.
Yeah, you couldn't do it. You just grandpa moved into the den. That's all that happened.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep. Fact. Fact.
That's all that happens. And so you look at Louis C.K. and this is what I think. This is the part that I think we need to look at is Louis C.K. If you look at it, if you look at all of his sets, the through line is I'm a weird pervert who's probably going to jerk off on you.
Yes. Yeah, he was telling you
it's in his art.
He was like, "I'm behind the boy in the basement,
behind
the hot water heater."
Every special he kills somebody and jerks off on their body.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, he was telling us the whole time.
BuzzFeed put out a thing. They said, "Here's 25 jokes that aren't so funny anymore," and they were all jokes of him saying, "I'm going to jerk off on you without your permission." Yeah, he's been telling us the whole time, and we're acting like we're surprised. Then that's the thing. This is the betrayal, the Cosby betrayal. That should be way different. I'm not saying that what Louis C.K. is doing is right, but the betrayal should be the moment where we go it's like we need to take responsibility as an audience to have somebody say something and have us not believe it versus the guy who acts as though he wouldn't act this way and then does. Right. That's a more dangerous person.
Definitely. And here's the thing: is that what Louis C.K. did was completely wrong. Yeah. Fact. 100% fact. The difference between him and Bill Cosby was fucking busy drugging people and raping people left, right, front, and center. I mean, imagine coming to out of some drug state and Bill Cosby is looming over you. Right. Who your friend's going to do some pudding pots and I'm going to finger bang you now.
I never thought this was going to turn into an impression. This is amazing.
Yeah, and it's just like, you're like, my vagina has dried up just thinking about that. Right. But here's the thing. Louis C.K. felt bad.
Yeah.
He felt
Right.
he owned it. He took responsibility.
He had
said that-
some knowledge of what his freak flag was, right?
Yeah, and Bill never did.
he-
He's denying it to this day.
And the thing with CK was he ignored the element of like, I'm a celebrity and sort of this. I'm not even giving somebody an opportunity to like really say no, like, because it's like if he was just like a dude who worked at Starbucks, he wouldn't have been given wouldn't have been given the opportunities to have these people in his, and so he's acknowledging that aspect of it. And it's like it was hard. You can't understand that as if you're that person.
Right.
It's like because outsiders know that like you're a celebrity, people want to be around you. Period. Like it's just what it is. So he's sort of acknowledging that point. But yeah, it's just a weird. We're in a weird position now because those are two different ends of the spectrum, and we're treating them the same.
Yeah, and it's while both things are. I'm sorry, but Bill Cosby drugging and raping 60 people, and not all the rapes. Like I guess a fair amount of them were him finger banging. So he was like, I got an unconscious chick, and it's just like I'm gonna, where's the finger go?
Yeah.
Goes. Now, I mean, one lady I remember reading, she said that she came to and he was over her saying, your friend is going to come again. So he's referring to himself in the third person as, yeah, how fucking creepy is that? You wake up and Bill goes, your friend's going to come again. And you're like, no, I don't want my friend to come. I want my friend to come zero. Weird. Please don't ever do really that.
Yeah.
So, and Louis C.K. just gone, right? Just done. And it's like, he didn't drug anyone. He asked women that were not in a position to say no if he could jerk off in front of them.
And it seemed, I guess, from a lot of the accounts, it seemed like he wasn't gonna do that next. Like it just seems like, it's just something somebody says, whatever. Yeah. And then next thing you know, it's happening.
Right. And we veered to the point. Were you tracking what was happening with Chris Hardwick?
No, this is off my radar. Tell me what happened.
Oh, okay. So you know who he is, though,
yeah.
Right. Right. Okay. So he, it turns out sometimes.
Oh, vaguely, this is what I got, and then you can correct me where I am. Vaguely, I got basically. He felt that he was in a position of power to guide or veer off your people's career path. So if they didn't hook up with him, he was like, well, I'm going to blacklist you in the business.
No. You're getting a slightly muffled translation. It turns out sometimes hot chicks can be a little crazy.
No, come on.
I know, shocker, right? So he was dating a super hot, painfully hot. Like you see her and you're just like, oh, yeah. Fuck.
Nobody should be able to fuck her hot.
Yeah, hot. Yeah. And she was a really well-known cosplayer.
Okay.
And she was great at it, and she did all the conventions.
Yeah.
And she dated.
And that's his world. He's in the geek world.
He's the king of the geeks, right? And he's dating a really well-known cosplayer who is just painfully, ridiculously hot. And she, I guess, dated him for probably 4 years, and they broke up. She cheated on him, and he was like, dumped her, like, dude, I can't deal with this. And she wrote a blind article where she submitted it, and she never named him. Yeah. But she gave in her essay, enough. It was so obvious who she was talking about. Among the things she claimed is that she wasn't supposed to be on her phone. She was supposed to be available to him 24 hours a day. She would lie on the bed, spread-eagled, and weep while he used her like a fleshlight, and that was her job every single night. That her entire life had to be framed around him, that she had an endoscopic pregnancy where the pregnancy had to be terminated so she wouldn't die, and that Chris asked in front of her mother, how long after the surgery is it before I can fuck her? Like, brutal shit. Yeah. And they responded accordingly, and they dropped him from Talking Dead, and they dropped him from hosting for ComicCon. Like, his career's dead, right?
I didn't know this happened.
Fucking dead. And then, here's the thing. After the fact, he's now married to Patty Hearst's daughter, Linda Hearst.
Like the publishing people?
No, Patty Hearst, the chick that got kidnapped. Remember when she got kidnapped by the... So Patty Hearst, Hearst Publishing, right? Yeah. She got kidnapped by the Simonese Liberation Army. It was some they were like the Weathermen. There was like this guerrilla faction in the 1970s, and they held Patty Hearst. They kidnapped her and they held her hostage for 54 days until she had Stockholm syndrome, and she cracked and she converted. And the next picture you see is that Patty Hearst is robbing a bank. She's got the gun. She has a new. Yeah, it was a huge thing in the 1970s. And once she most of the people that kidnapped her, the Liberation Army, actually ended up dying. Like, the police were hunting for him. And when they finally find Patty Hearst, she's in her early 20s.
Yeah.
And they have pictures of her robbing banks.
No
fucking
shit.
guns, the beret and everything. And she's like, my new name is, Tanya or whatever.
She got like brainwashed.
She got brainwashed, right.
Wow.
So that's what makes Patty Hearst memorable to me. But her daughter is super fucking hot and is a model, and she's now married to Chris Hardwick.
Yeah.
And she came out and she's like, this is not what my husband's like. And then after his career was ruined because this blind article that this ex wrote, all of his other ex-girlfriends came forward, and 100% of them were like, this isn't Chris. This is not the dude. And then his mother-in-law, Patty Hearst, went online, and she found footage that the ex-girlfriend had after the surgery where she was claiming, my boyfriend's the best, and he's so amazing, and he's taken such good care of me.
Yeah.
At the same time that she's claiming that he's just saying, hurry up and heal so I can put my dick in you.
Interesting.
Right? So it's just like, wait a minute. The pendulum is swinging to the point that there's an overreaction. When you have one blind article by a bitter ex, and then text came out, and then she's claimed this man's abused her, and the texts are her begging him to text her back, asking if they can still be friends. So she's
So the danger now is this
overreaction.
But it's this disclosure thing. It's just this movie, this Demi Moore movie that sort of like predicted this world where you can claim that something happened and never have to prove it. And because men have been so historically horrible, it's sort of like the payback. And then there's sort of like this attitude of like, well, whatever, men have been terrible forever, so who cares?
It happened to me 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Okay, it happens to women too. Here's the thing. I was a staff photographer for 3 years working for a company here in the Bay Area. Nice. It wasn't Kink, but it was another company.
Okay.
And one of the rules when you do BDSM production is that when someone safe words, the safe word is respected and all action stops. That's the foundation. That's the principle of safe words. So I'm an educator and I teach a shit ton of classes. And I was on Twitter and another performer was saying, I want to create and put together a BDSM etiquette class for BDSM professionals, and I would like a co-presenter and a co-writer who do you think I should match up with and do this class with? And immediately one of my followers said, well, do Rain DeGrey. Like, she teaches a ton of classes. Yeah. And her response is, well, Rain DeGrey was the photographer and was on set and took photos of my tears after I safe worded, and those photos were used for the cover art of the shoot. So I'm not going to be doing any classes with her. Oh. And I'm shocked because I can't imagine that I would ignore a safe word, take a photo of someone crying after safe wording, and then that would be used for the cover art. Right. So, but where we are is the person that's hurt has all the authority in the room. That's just a fact. Well, it's non-negotiable.
And it's not even that. This is where we're at. Is we've created this dismissive culture where we go, I wasn't there, I don't know, I'm going to take their word for it, which is insane. Like, that's an insane place to be because this is where the argument deads on all trans discussions with two people who are heteronormative and cisgendered. What happens is they go, I don't know. Right. I'm not them. Right. So let them do whatever they want. And this is just not a helpful place to be. Right. Because we're never going to get to the heart of the actual discussion. So then again, when somebody says something, they go, well, I was there, I'm crying, I'm a victim, and all these things. And we just go, well, we have to respect their victimdom.
We have
blindly.
To. I had no choice but to respect it. So I reached out to her and I said, I'm shocked and I actually have no recollection of this. But if you want to talk about it with me, I'm holding space for you and I'd love to hear what happened. And what she told me was that she was on set. She was hit with a dragon tail. She safe worded. All action stopped. We asked her, do you want to come out of bondage? And she said, no, I'm good. I just need a moment. And in that moment, she started crying. And the tears were beautiful, and they were raw, and they were honest. And I asked her, can I take a picture of your tears? And she didn't object. I took the photo. The shoot continued. We ended it. There was an exit interview. Everything was fine. I took her to the plane. She was fine. The photo that I took was one of the most striking photos of the entire shoot, and it ended up being used for the cover art. Well, as it turns out, none of us knew because we did an exit interview. We finished the shoot. We did all the protocol. She felt really violated at the photo being taken and wasn't in the mental space to tell us that. So all along with the protocol of we stopped the shoot, we stopped it because she safe worded. We didn't pick it up until she felt she was ready. We did the exit interview. We asked if everything was okay, and she's saying that everything's okay. Her mouth is saying the words, but her heart and head don't believe it.
Right.
So how are you a mind reader? How it's gotten to the point
and
where
that's
it's
the
like
thing is we've all been there though, right? Where we agree to a thing just to get out of it.
Right.
And this is the other thing is like as anybody who is sexually active knows, sometimes you get in a situation where it's a little uncomfortable and it's a little bit easier, even if you feel uncomfortable that whatever's going on, to just power through it. And you're like, well, look, it's like you convince yourself that like the damage that's being done, that's like, it's just a little weird, it's a little awkward, that it's fine. And it's tough because now we're in a world where we go, well, the thing that you felt now has more hooks in it, and you can attach to that. So it's like, so now we're going back to things that we've experienced, and we go, well, that was fucked up.
This happened 2 years ago, and she's had 2 years to sit about it, think about it, process it, and it's become more traumatic for her. And the responsibility I need to take from that is, while she was crying, I should have just let her cry and not taken a photo. But the thing is, there are so many photos of me crying. Like the company, that's what they specialized in, was raw and honest.
Right.
If you want to Google Rain DeGrey crying, there's a decade of me fucking sobbing, snot everywhere.
Yeah.
Like that's the real and authentic moment when you're doing BDSM practices. But I needed to know that she's didn't want to be photographed and be aware of that and not ask for it and force her into an uncomfortable position. And hindsight is 2020. Like I would never do that again.
I don't know what the takeaway is. That's
the thing. The thing is, you are always going to be someone's worst experience.
Sure.
No matter what, no matter how ethical you try and be, no matter how much effort you put into it, someone is on this planet is walking around, and the encounter they had with you is the worst thing that ever happened to them. And there's fuck all that you can. I mean, you can try and be ethical. You can try and do consent. But people can walk away, and you're like, "What did I do wrong?"
But this is in every aspect of life. It's not even just from the sexual scope. I mean, it's just one of those things that we've the way that we've learned and figured out how to communicate sometimes is not. There's no, I don't know. There's almost no there's no solve to the problem, because like however we change the occurrence, then there's going to be some other. It's this argument about like no matter what you do, you're gonna fuck up your kids.
Guaranteed.
Like if you over stimulate them, then they're gonna go in the other direction. If you understimulate them, they're gonna go in the wrong direction. If you shield them from things, then they're gonna gravitate towards these things. If you let them see everything, then it's like then they're gonna be stunted in another way. So it's like no matter what you do, you're fucking it up, because there's other people involved. There's other things, and there's unspoken things, and there's all this stuff.
You know the workaround to that? There's a guaranteed way not to fuck up your kids. Don't have kids.
Yeah.
Not gonna fuck them up.
You fuck up other people's kids as you're walking by. And if you create content, you're gonna fuck up somebody else's. Yeah, they're gonna fuck up somebody else's adult, no matter what you do. But this is the thing, and this is the takeaway that I sort of live in as a comedian. Is I go, it's like whenever somebody says something and it sounds smart, you just at the end of the day you go, he doesn't fucking know. Nobody knows. I don't know. He doesn't know. You don't know. She doesn't know.
Right.
And it's like it's tough because like I'll sometimes drop this in after I've been having a discussion that sort of turns into an argument with somebody after like 3 hours. I'll be like, I don't know. Right. I've been making this up. Like it's like as much as I do know, it's all bullshit. There is no black or white. It's all in the middle.
It's all shades of gray.
It's all in the middle. So there is no real as much darkness there is in the world. There's light. As much pain, there's joy. So it's all in the middle. So we can talk about it, and that's fine. But we're all wrong at the end of the day.
Oh yeah.
That's what's great about comedians. They can argue either side. Like I'll watch a comedian do a joke where he's arguing a side that I know he doesn't believe, because it's more fun.
Right.
It's more fun for the joke. And him not believing that side and arguing that side makes him a deeper person and makes the audience a more well-rounded.
Well, that's what they teach you in debates.
Sure.
In debating, when they teach you for debate tournaments, you have to argue something you don't believe in.
Right.
And you have to argue it convincingly so well that you sell it.
Yes. Tim Dillon, this is the thing. He was like he said he would when he was doing, he's a great comedian. When he was in debate club, he got really good at it. It was before he knew he wanted to do comedy, before he was even thinking about comedy, and he was in these debate clubs. He traveled the world, and he did, in college, and he had a trick of like he would like find out what the other person like emotionally was attached to, And he would argue way against that because he knew that like they were not going to then use logic or anything because they're like so emotionally invested in the thing.
Right.
And so to not be emotionally invested in either side was the way to
fuck
win.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, it's brilliant.
Fact.
Yeah. So that's what I think. So there's a part of that where we kind of all need to stop taking ourselves so seriously.
Right.
Stop being so hurt by everything. Everything
Right.
is going to affect us and hurt us in a sense.
Sure.
So we gotta scale back a little bit.
Well, so I'm a huge believer in personal responsibility.
Yeah.
And personal responsibility is where people get triggered.
This is where we're at. Is nobody wants to take responsibility. That's the problem.
Right. Yes, fact, and that's is bullshit as far as I'm concerned. I take responsibility.
Yeah. That's why I went out of my way to be like, I'm sorry, this is my fault. Please still come and hang out. And
right. Well, you that's true. That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Because you took responsibility.
Yeah. Well, no, because I've been in so many so many of my relationships have ended at the moment where I realize that the person who has, even if I'm wrong for feeling wronged, which probably I am, just say sorry and mean it.
Right.
And not, I'm sorry, but. And that's the difference. That's the moment.
The but is that's the hinge where it's like then you just undid everything you said before the but.
Right.
Right. I believe in ruthlessly taking my self-inventory. I believe in calling myself out on my shit. Like fact, because that's what's going to make me a better person.
Yeah.
That's where the growth is. The growth doesn't happen in your comfort zone. Nothing. You're stagnant in your comfort zone. The fucking magic happens outside your comfort zone. And when I went on, I'm actually dating my high school boyfriend.
That's fantastic.
Dude, okay. I've got a story for you. Do you want the story? Okay. Yeah. So this is why I'm dating this man. When I was 16, I was shallow. I was shallow.
As you are.
Well, I had a fetish for just skinny, angsty-looking Jesus boys. Like if I could see the ribs.
Yeah.
Just like if you look like you were hanging on a cross.
The cult thing.
No, the guru was pretty chunky.
The what?
The guru was chunky.
Yeah, but the Bible, like you're still.
No,
it's still
there's
Jesus.
there was no Christianity.
You didn't. Oh, there wasn't.
No.
Oh, they misunderstood.
Cult, not a drop of Christianity.
There was no outside text.
No.
Oh,
Like
okay.
I never saw a Bible.
Okay.
I'm talking about the body type.
Yeah.
I just liked that lean, angsty, artistic, poetic.
Yeah.
If I were to psychoanalyze it, I've got daddy issues. I fucking love my dad.
Yeah.
My father's a skinny dude.
Yeah.
I like scrawny brunettes.
Interesting.
Like that's my intellectual, angsty, scrawny, creative brunettes. Fucking dude, I'm mad for it. Male, female, if you're an intellectual, scrawny, angsty
it doesn't matter
brunette,
what we do. We still want to fuck our parents. I don't know what it is. It's so fucked up.
It's just fact.
Humans are so lame.
I looked at it and I'm like, why do I? Oh, it's my dad. I'm describing my dad. I want to fuck my dad.
Yeah.
Now we're getting pulled off of YouTube.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So
we got pulled that stuff in butt, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, I like talking about things up butts, and I cannot lie. So I was dating this dude, and he's perfect. He's fucking perfect, and he's heavy. He's a heavy dude. He's 220 now. He claims 220. It's more than 220. I'm gonna be honest. You know what? He's a chunky dude. And at 16, I couldn't hang. I was just like, I love your mind, but it's in the body of a fat dude.
Oh, weird.
And I can't, like, you are perfect, but you're fucking fat.
Yeah.
And I'm 16 and I can't hang.
Yeah.
And we never banged. I couldn't get my way through the fat.
Yeah.
Right? So I didn't see the man for 20 years.
Yeah.
And I am teaching an oral sex class at the Citadel. And this dude comes up to me during the break. And I don't know how you feel. Fans are challenging for me. When people want to do selfies with me, and when people like send me like, "You're amazing," and it makes me so. Because the thing is, I live with me every day. I don't fart rose petals.
Right.
I've got no makeup on. My hair's in a greasy ponytail. Like I'm wandering around in mismatched pajamas. I am not this kink goddess.
I had to condition myself to go, okay, when somebody comes up to buy me a drink after the show, because I would refuse the drink because I don't drink, but I had to like convince myself to understand that drink isn't for me. It's for them to buy the drink and then have the thing. Because whatever I did on stage that they connected with, that's their moment. It's not about me.
It's really, I don't like being on pedestals. Because when you are put on a pedestal, you're guaranteed to fall. And I don't like sprained ankles.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't do pedestals well. Like I don't. It's like no one person is better.
The only thing you can do is you give them their moment and you be humble.
Right. Well,
that's the only thing you can do.
I am definitely have the humble part down. I don't have the fan part down.
Yeah.
That's challenging for me. So this dude comes up during the break for my class and is like, I just want to let you know that I'm a really big fan Oh my God. Okay,
It's
that's
creepy.
that's
It's a creepy thing
creepy.
to
It's
say.
fucking
Yeah,
creepy.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
fucking
yeah,
creepy.
yeah.
I mean, I start.
The word fan is creepy.
It's creepy.
I have no following. I have no social media following.
Yeah.
Somebody came up to me after my show in South Africa, and I've been able to get a little bit of escalation in South Africa. And this guy, he said, I'm a big fan.
Yeah,
big
that's
fan of yours.
hard. That's hard.
Yeah,
That's
and
fucking
so I
hard.
just convinced myself that he means like tonight, the show, this one
Yeah,
moment, this
that-
thing, the thing I did tonight,
No,
because
no,
he
no.
doesn't know who I am.
Right.
But maybe he does. But either way, it's a creepy word.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a creepy
I
word.
follow you.
Yeah, and you're
It's
like,
creepy.
oh, dude,
Yeah.
dude, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, and already like the hackles are up. Like,
Yeah.
there's a fan here in San Francisco that has been contacting me for 2 years
Yeah.
through multiple blocked profiles. He creates female profiles. He leaves me. One of the things I hate about Facebook is that they can leave messages, and it'll just be message after message. I haven't
Right.
asked for it. It's just this like voicemail shit.
It is interesting when you get a message from somebody and you think it's the first time, and then you see the feed,
Just
and
says
they've been
at it forever. And I mean, this one stalker I have, he actually has threatened to rape me, and he has said that he has a fake female profile, but he writes the same way. It's all this Illuminati, Madonna,
Shit.
Lady Gaga, weird shit. It's really obvious.
I
who
never
he
would have
is.
lumped Gaga into that pile, but that's
He is a thing. I only recently dyed my hair red.
yeah.
But I've been a blonde for a decade, and
Yeah.
he is a thing for opinionated, strong, confident blondes.
His mom.
Well, he's a black dude, so I don't
Oh.
know. I mean, where
Similar-
that, but like
yeah.
Madonna, Lady Gaga, and Brooke Candy are
Interesting.
the three chicks that he's fucking mad for, and he lumped me in with that. And it would be like
Yeah.
Madonna, Lady Gaga, Brooke Candy, Rain DeGrey. Right? He was into it,
Wow.
and he actually said that the reason I keep blocking him is because I've fallen in love with him. So he's taken my power, and I'm so terrified that he's
yeah.
taken my power that I keep blocking him, and I've never spoken to him. And
Right.
every time there's a profile, block. And in his twisted mind, he's pulled up zero correspondence and blocking on Twitter and Facebook for the past 2 years as I'm in love with him and he's taken my power.
Yeah.
Fucking
Interesting.
dude, like there's some fans that are creepy. So this
Yeah.
guy is standing in front of me. I'm a really big fan. Okay, I travel with a knife and mace in my purse at
Yeah.
all fucking times.
So definitely approach her. It seems
Yeah.
like a good idea.
I might look thin. I did competitive wrestling for 4 years. Like
But you just told them at the beginning of the thing that you can't stab them to death. So.
I will fuck someone up. I don't need to poison you. I will. I mean, I'm not to be trifled with.
Okay, so he's
That's
a
a
fan.
fact.
He's in front of you.
Right. So
Yeah.
he's and he's like, no, you don't understand. I've been a really big fan of yours since you were 16.
And now he's fucking with you.
Oh, I'm fucking terrified since
Yeah.
I was 16.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, you dude.
Are you looking at him in the face at this
Oh
point?
yeah. And he's like this. Like
Yeah.
I've been a big fan of. And I'm like, red alert. And then he finally stopped fucking with me. And he realized I didn't recognize him. And he's like, I'm your high school boyfriend. What? Like I have not. I'm not placing my high school boyfriend
Yeah.
20 years later
Right.
in a dungeon in the
Right.
middle of me
Right.
teaching an oral sex class.
Right.
Time and place, motherfucker. I'm not placing it. Right.
Yeah.
So as it turns out, he got
Does it look
married.
the same?
He gained confidence.
Oh, nice.
And confidence
It's so
is
weird for women. It's
women. Here's I'm going to break it down. I'm going to break down a fact to you. Men
It's a different
are
person.
visually based.
Yeah.
Men fucking love visual. You know what women love? Intelligence, charisma, talent, skill, humor. You
Yeah.
can be Jack Nicholson is not an attractive man. That dude gets more ass than a
Yeah.
toilet seat. Women love confidence.
Yeah.
Confidence makes women wet.
Interesting.
I do
yeah.
not give a fuck what
It's
you
status.
look like.
Well, this is the thing we try to do to break it down. It's sort of status and confidence connotes whatever word I want there.
Indicates
indicates status. Yeah.
yeah.
So it's like because you're confident. So there's
Right.
something's going
Right.
on. You
Right.
have a thing. That you're like that and that sort of, so it's like all these things, all the things of status. Women are attracted to status. That's why there's this idea that women only cheat up, women don't cheat down.
Why would you cheat down?
Men cheat close. Well,
Yeah.
that's the big thing.
Men cheat in any fucking
Well, it
direction
doesn't
they can
matter.
put their
He'll,
dick in.
he'll bang the mate. It's convenience.
My next door neighbor was a 300-pound toothless heroin addict.
Yeah.
With cigarette burns and giant fat sloppy tits.
Yeah.
And she kept losing her key because she's a junkie. And she would have me. The apartments were set up where there was the walkway, and you walk up to the front door. I'm pretty agile. My nickname is Ninja, and I can climb in a window. No
Okay.
problem. So
Yeah.
she kept having me like climb into her
window.
window. And if you've ever been in a junkie's house,
No.
like she'd nod out. She would lose the cigarette. The floor was acneed with cigarette burns.
Yeah.
The trash everywhere, fruit flies. guys, it was fucking nasty, right? Like, I would think if I was a dude and had a dick, if I saw that, my dick would shrivel up and run away and scream. It would, like, plunge off a cliff.
No, we'll go right through this.
So but what would happen is
blow right through that red light.
At 2 a.m, I would get knocks on my bedroom window.
Yeah.
I'd be like, and it would be these Hispanic dudes from the Canal District, like, knocking,
Wrong
and, like,
window.
they would see my husband, they'd be like, hey, come on, and I'm a slow learner. I was like, why do Hispanic dudes that don't speak any English keep waking me up at 2 a.m, telling my husband to get out of the bedroom? And it took me, honestly, a couple weeks to realize that my junky 300-pound toothless neighbor was actually a hooker. And that the dudes were coming by. They're like, I've got $5 and I don't speak any English. And I'm, supporting a wife and kids down in Mexico. My dick needs to get wet.
Are they in the wrong window?
She lived next door to me.
Yeah.
They got one window off.
Yeah.
They were still gonna go fuck her.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't get to fuck me, but they were getting the numbers wrong.
Yeah, right.
Dudes will fuck anyone.
Yeah. No, we'll blow through red light. So one of the weirdest ones I had was I get home with this girl, and everything was cool up to that point. She had gotten a little drunker than I think she should have. But this is like a couple dates now. So we have a feel of each other. But now I'm in her house, and now I have like kind of a feel of like who she is as a person.
Right.
And her sheets are covered in blood. And I was like, hey, like what? And she's like, oh, I just don't like tampons, whatever the excuse was.
She's a free bleeder or something?
I don't know. Whatever the excuse was, I was like, oh, that makes sense. And I just blew through that red light. And the next day, I woke up and I'm in bloody sheets, and I was like, this is not.
No,
I shouldn't have done this.
You shouldn't have.
I'm
just letting that was a poor decision.
Culturally, our ideas don't match up enough.
No.
I'm a very clean person.
Yeah, I'm a Virgo with OCD.
I change my sheets a lot.
When I travel, I bring my own pillowcase.
Yeah. I bring my own pillow.
Okay.
I don't stay in hotels. Like this is an outlier.
Okay. Yeah, I bring my own pillowcase because I'm not putting my head on someone.
Right.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
I bring slippers. I am not. My bare feet are not touching a hotel room floor.
Hell no.
Are you kidding me?
Hell no.
No.
I do everything I can to not stay in a hotel. Okay, so we
got sidetracked.
We're almost in 2 episodes worth of content. So very quickly.
Okay, so the dude. All right.
How did you end up? Yeah.
So he is. Don't you recognize me? And I'm like, I don't, because what he'd gained, he'd lost a little weight, not a huge amount of weight. What he gained is confidence, and women love confidence. And he said, hey, we dated in high school, and it blew my little brain. What had happened is that he'd gotten married. He'd found the woman who's like, put the ring on my finger, put the baby in my belly, get me a house. That's what I need to be happy. Well, he gave her all those things. He gave her the kid, he gave her the house, he gave her the ring, and she's like, I'm not actually happy.
Enough.
No, I'm not happy. I thought this was the thing that was going to make me happy. No. You know what's going to make me happy? Being kinky. So she gets online, and the thing, when you join the kink community, it's like becoming a born-again Christian. And let me explain why. You go to church every Sunday morning. You go to the dungeon every Sunday night.
No shit.
You start dressing differently, more modestly. You start wearing more latex and leather.
Yeah.
You have a sense of community. You have a sense of purpose. You walk with a pep in your step. All of a sudden, you're surrounded by people that understand you. You speak a common language. It's like joining a community. And there's people that become kinky where it's like, I'm accepted.
Yeah.
This is
the thing. You just have to find your thing, whatever your thing is. And this is sort of like, this is where I've gotten to a different place with comedy and comedians. Did it sound like someone was just dripping?
No, you're so paranoid.
Oh.
Dude, I think you're still high from the
swear to
edibles.
God, it sounded like somebody was
Your
just...
chair's been squeaking for this entire... It's been driving me crazy.
I know, me too.
But I didn't want to say anything.
I can't do anything about it.
Well, you
I have
scooted
to move.
it back.
Yeah,
well,
I keep trying.
You can move, but you've scooted it back. You're like this whole
Anyway, I
podcast
found
is
this
so
place
squeaky.
where I know what I need to keep myself happy and confident.
Right.
So like I'm in this place with the comedy community. And then
Mm.
now honestly with interviewing people in the adult film industry is there's another aspect of my life that I relate to like we have the same understanding of sex. I think that compared to the rest of the people that are out there and the stop sense.
It's one of my it's my favorite. It's that bliss. It's
once you find it doesn't matter what the thing is.
You
Once you
find
find it,
right.
you become a totally more fulfilled person. So
right. So his wife was like, I'm not happy with this situation. I'm going to become kinky. She goes online and she's like, wait a minute, isn't this your ex-girlfriend from high school?
Oh.
Because I think your ex-girlfriend from high school is now a BDSM porn star named DeGrey.
Oh.
So my ex-boyfriend's like, what?
He didn't know.
He didn't know.
He didn't know this how your career's taking you.
No, I had no. We had no correspondence in 20 years, right? So he dated me in high school. I was just this, awkward person on the spectrum
Yeah.
with not a lot of people skills. And then he doesn't see me for 20 years. And the next time he runs into me, I'm a BDSM porn star and my butthole is all over the internet.
Yeah.
So he didn't, what? So they separate, and I was the first person he thought of when they separated.
Sure.
Like a man goes through the little black book. He's like, who did I get along with?
We have this thing.
Yeah, he's like, I really got along with her.
Well, and society's conditioned us to do this thing where we go, who's the one that got away? And it's always weird because
Really?
I go through this all the time. I'll every time I get out of a relationship, I'll inventory what I've been through in the past, and then I go, there's nobody. There's nobody who we should have worked out and we didn't.
Right.
But there's this thing out there that says to all of us that, maybe there's somebody that you had in your life and that you let go. And you should try again. Rather than meet a new person, you should find. I don't know why.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right. I don't think there's.
And I'm not
such
saying
a
it's
thing
wrong.
As there's one who got away.
Yeah.
That's not. But in this case, we are incredibly compatible, and
Well,
we're fucking great.
I still think that that almost anybody can make it work with anybody if you actually just communicate and commit to the thing.
Right. That's a fact.
We have a thing where we go, well, I don't want to take her shit. There's somebody else within 3 miles. I'm just going to find them.
Because it's disposable. Just throw them away.
Rather than sit down and go, I'm sorry that the thing we're fighting about, I'm sorry. I'll take it. What's your side? What's my side? Let's talk about, because everybody can make that work, but nobody tries.
Right. So the callback to my story, we started off with personal responsibility.
Yeah.
So when he walked up and he's like, hey, let's do this, and I thought there was no room on my plate. It turns out there was room on my plate, and it was just the shape of him. I had time in my life for this dude. We've been together for almost 4 years. On our first date, when we sat down, the first thing I said to him, the first words out of my mouth were, I want you to call me on my shit. Yeah. 'Cause it's going to make me a better person.
Right.
I want, and his wife she doesn't want to be called on her shit. I'm like, the growth and where I want to be as a person.
We get stuck.
Yeah.
And we think we're right, and then somebody goes, you're fine.
No, I need to, and it was
and
so.
You go, you're right.
It was so shocking for him that he wasn't used to someone starting out the gate, call me on my shit. I want to be a better person. I wake up every single day, and the first thing I think of when my eyes open and my head reboots is, how can I be less of an asshole today than I was yesterday?
Right. Yeah.
I'm taking my inventory, and I want to be the best version of myself I possibly can.
And it's tough because right now, especially, we're in a very like solo sufficient society, and we're at a place where everybody's supposed to be important. So then, when everybody's important, then sort of like nobody becomes important to us because we're the important.
Right.
And so then we're at this place where it's like, you wherever you are in your life, you do a thing, and then it's like just even the smallest things of now trying to interact with a person who's supposed to give you the thing that you want to make your day happy, and then it takes too long, and now you're blaming them, and it's like it's this whole cycle of.
We've raised an entire generation of kids to think that they're awesome. Anyone can be president. Anyone can be a rock star. Yeah. Timmy, you got a medal just for participating. Yeah. And when everyone believes they're awesome, reality is the cold bitch slap in your face that we can't all be exceptionally awesome.
Yeah.
There's a bell curve.
This is the villain from The Incredibles is when everybody's incredible, nobody is.
Oh, I haven't seen The Incredibles.
Oh, really?
I don't. Dude, I'm writing 3 books. I'm
That's
doing
fine.
a podcast.
It came out 18 and a half years ago.
Well,
you had time. You had time. It doesn't matter.
Okay,
but the point is that theme of life is in there. It doesn't. You don't have to see the movie. It doesn't matter.
I never picked up the habit. When I was born in the commune, from birth, I was practically Amish.
I wish I didn't have a TV addiction.
I grew up with no TV.
I wish.
It was forbidden.
I had to remove. I didn't bring TV to college. I spent 5 years not having. I spent almost 8 years not having a TV, and then I finally had a roommate who one of his conditions was having cable, and I've been a worse person ever since. And that's the last 6 years.
I don't have
way
time.
better off.
I don't have time for TV.
Way better of a person.
There's so much shit I want to do.
Yeah.
We only have a finite amount of time on this planet, and I am so driven to accomplish as much as I possibly fucking can. I don't have time for TV or movies, and I get they're fun. I get that they're entertaining. When I want to relax, I bust out my magic eraser and my Swiffers and I clean.
Nice.
Like when I'm not writing, when I'm not creating content.
That's where I'm at. That's the OCD. Yeah, that's no matter how bad my day is.
I can always clean.
If I clean,
The baseboards that
Solves
tie
everything.
a room. I actually carry I carry magic erasers in my car at all times.
Okay.
And when I meet someone who hasn't been turned on to magic erasers, I'm like the magic eraser fairy. I'm like, I'm about to blow your mind.
Yeah.
I'm just going to lay some magic on you. When I'm in a hotel room, I have the magic erasers because I'm going to clean the doors.
And then you look at the filth.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
You're like the
Oh, yeah.
lady on the infomercials.
I fucking love it, dude.
Yeah, you think your house is
So-
clean.
No,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
wrong.
Oh,
You're
look at how
this.
dirty your
Look
house
at this.
is.
Yeah, dude. There's
You've been sitting in this, and you start
That's-
describing it
yeah,
mites, and you start to.
Yeah. That's how I relax. Is I fucking clean. I'm creating
with you.
content or I'm
with
cleaning.
You. Yeah, I'm with you.
Them's
on
the
this.
haps.
Yeah,
Those are the two
I'm
things.
totally
I really
with
don't
you
have
on this.
time for much
Yeah.
else than
Totally with
cleaning
you
and
on
creating
this.
content.
All right. Well, we've been going almost 90 minutes.
All right,
I
okay.
can't justify anybody wanting to. I think we're great, but I don't think can't justify anybody wanting to listen to us this long. So let's wrap up.
I'm sorry. We're awesome.
We're pretty great.
I'd listen to us.
I would
We're
listen to
fucking-
us.
I'm entertained.
So
I'm
so
in the middle of this and I'm entertained.
So what is so how do they follow you online?
Okay.
How do you want people to,
Okay.
to reach you, and how do they
Okay.
how do you want them to pay for your content?
Okay. Rain DeGrey. I'm Rain DeGrey. My website's raindegrey.com. I'm Rain DeGrey on Facebook.
Spell it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Because people get a little tripped up with the DeGrey. Rain, like from the sky. Rain DeGrey, DeGrey. I'm raindegrey.com. I'm Rain DeGrey on Facebook. Rain DeGrey on Twitter. Rain DeGrey on Instagram. Rain DeGrey on FetLife. I have the Dirty Talk podcast. I have the Dirty Talk advice column. I have a monthly newsletter. You can go to Rain DeGrey and sign up for it. I teach classes. I'm a lecturer. I'm an educator, and I am currently in the process of writing my first book.
Crushing it, doing all the things.
Fuck yeah!
Well, follow Rain DeGrey on all of the things.
Go to
whatever
go to
your
my
favorite
go to my
platform is.
Rain DeGrey on Patreon. So you can either go
Yeah.
to my website. You can hit that PayPal donate button. Some people do that. Rain DeGrey on Patreon allows me to keep doing my podcast and my advice column. So if there's content you like, if there's stuff you're passionate about, support the content creators because we can't do it without your support. If you're not supporting us, we're just shouting into the void.
Yeah, I like it. I couldn't have said anything better myself. This is the Porn Stars People podcast. We're on iTunes, we're on Google Play, whatever platform you're on, we're on the other thing. We got some content that's clearly going to get flagged on YouTube today.
Sorry.
Of us hanging out doing the podcast. We try to bring you good content whenever we can on Sundays. If there's anything that you want to hear about that we're not discussing, hit us up. DM us and tell us what's going on. The only things I get so far are that I talk too much in the podcast. I've gotten trolls.
You do, yeah. I'm not just it's okay. And I'm not trying. I'm super not trying to insult you.
It's fine.
But the thing is, if you actually go to YouTube and you look at it, because I do podcasting
Yeah.
and I have to interview my guests.
Yeah.
So and it's easy when you like words and you're a verbal person and you fucking love the monologues.
Yeah.
That it stops being so much an interview. So give yourself 5 minutes and look up videos on how to interview people, and I will actually structure an interview ahead of time, and I want to elicit the best content I can out of my guests. And when I get excited and I start talking over them or I start doing my stories, but I sat down and I watched some videos on how to interview people properly.
Yeah.
And as the podcaster, when you're having someone on, your job is to tease out the exciting content.
Right. And shut your mouth.
Yeah. I love you.
So thanks for listening, guys. Totally going to edit this part of it out.
No, don't. Leave it in.
just
I'm
kidding, I'm just
insisting.
kidding, no.
Fucking this stays
Thank
in,
you
man.
for listening. Thank you for not trolling us. Porn Stars People podcast every Sunday.